up everyone, it's your boy JT here. Today I'm going to be talking about this beautiful stuff and how I finally got my hands on it and how happy I am that I have it. And I love it so much and it is my favourite thing in the world. The title isn't clickbait, but I am actually 18 now. I'm filming this on the 3rd of February. I turned 18 on the 29th of January and I started testosterone on the 23rd of January. So I did actually start T a week before my 18th birthday. I would have started sooner if it wasn't for money and everything, and just if I had started everything sooner, and if there wasn't all these complications, which I'm gonna get into in a minute. Yeah, basically. So starting from the very beginning, if you have been following me on social media or not necessarily YouTube, because I don't talk about this all that much on YouTube, but if you've been following me maybe on Tumblr or Instagram, or if you know me in real life, maybe you know all of this. But basically, I have been out as a trans boy for a few years now. I've known since I was about 12 and basically I've been trying to get my hands on some sweet testosterone since then. If you don't know, I'm English, and here in UK we have something called the NHS, which is a very wonderful and lovely free healthcare service. Basically, we can get pretty much any sort of healthcare for free whenever we like, because we pay taxes and all that, and that goes towards that, and you can just show up to the doctors if you've got a problem, and that is great. But they have transgender health clinics, gender identity clinics, sort of things, and I went to that clinic. I still am under the care of a NHS gender identity clinic, and I was going there to the child's one, which is called GIDS, for a couple years, and trying to access hormone replacement treatment from them for a while, but they weren't giving in, and that really affected my mental health, because they were essentially refusing me treatment that I really needed. It's great in theory, and it's really cool that the NHS do that sort of treatment, but the service that especially the child service really isn't good enough. It doesn't actually treat children. They basically, what would happen is I would go to see them once every month for about an hour. I'd have to buy train tickets to go all the way to London to go see them, and I would sit in a room, and these psychiatrist people would ask me loads of really general questions about my past and my history and my transness and stuff. And when I'd explain to them that I have really bad dysphoria, dysphoria to the level that it stops me from getting out of bed sometimes, it stops me from living a productive life, they would be okay. And then I explained to them that I need to medically transition. I have known this for a few years now, that is the pathway that I really need to go down, and I am struggling at life not having access to medical transition and stuff, and they would completely ignore that. And this one guy would be telling me all this sort of stuff well, other people have other ideas about what you need to be doing, and all this well, in the future you might want kids and stuff, and I'm like, I'm a gay man. I'm going to adopt. I know I don't want kids, and why do you think that future me is more important than current me, Anyway, it was a big ordeal, and I am still kind of trying to get over what happened to me there. Like, I didn't feel listened to at all, and it made me very scared to go to doctors and talk to doctors and stuff like that. I should probably have put a trigger warning at the beginning of this. I'm sorry about this depressing rambling, but that was the situation. So I decided that while I am going to this place every day and basically having my needs mostly ignored, the thing is, when I was there, they changed my doctors, like the people who would be talking to me, like every couple months. I went there for a bit over a year, maybe like 2 years, and I went through about like 5 or so different doctors who would talk to me there. They would usually be like 2 at a time, and then one would leave and then another one would come in, and then the other one would leave and another one would come in. And some of them were okay, some of them, like, you could tell that they genuinely wanted to help me. They just, like, they didn't have the power to. Like, they knew that, like, that their, like, superiors wouldn't let them do anything, but some of them just, like, really didn't. Like, it was like talking to a brick wall that was like trying to convince a lump of sand that you're in medical, that you need medical help, and the lump of sand is just looking at you like, but what will your mum think? And your mum's sitting right there just like, please give him hormones, he's really sad, you know? So while that was all happening, I got really, really stressed, so I decided to do some research into private doctors and stuff. The thing is, in the UK, we do have some private doctors who you can go to, but you have to, like, spend money to see them, which is obviously the downside of, like, you know, doing something not through the NHS. Is private doctors usually tend to be quicker and more efficient, but can be very expensive. Yeah, another thing with the NHS is the waiting times. Like, I had to be on a huge waiting list even to get to the stage where I was sitting in a room having a total nothingness conversation with some people. Okay. The thing is with the NHS gender identity clinic, it's fine if you're, like, questioning. I think if I didn't know that I'm a boy and I wasn't so just set and, like, so sure that I needed, like, to medically transition, I wouldn't have mind talking to people about my gender and stuff for this long. But it's just, it's not what you need when you're in my position and, like, you're 100% sure and everything. So, you know, if you wanna wait and then talk to people and then wait, and that's fine, because, like, at the moment I've actually just reached the top of another waiting list, which I was on for a while, to go to the adult services, who I'm going to see about like surgery and stuff, because yeah, surgery privately is just way too expensive, so I am going to have to sit through the whole NHS process of assessment for surgery. And hopefully, because I'm already on hormones and I've sat through all the child services thing, that will go a little quicker, and I've just reached the top of that waiting list to have an appointment with the adult NHS services. I'm going all the way to Exeter for that because I read that that was the best one and that could get me through the quickest and they had the shortest waiting list. So I have an appointment with them like next week, so that'll be fun. That appointment is actually only in a few days, which I'm excited to see what happened there. Probably not much. Probably not much. I am trying not to get my hopes up about anything at the moment, you know, but I'm on tea, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, on to the story. It's like, we're like 8 minutes in and I haven't told you actually how I got my hands on my tea. Anyway, after being really sad and frustrated about how the NHS thing just weren't listening to my needs, I decided to go private. And there are a handful of private gender clinics in the UK, most of which will not see under 18s. I contacted all of them being like, hey, I started this process when I was like 16, when I just turned 17 sort of thing, contacting people being like, please. And all of them were like, no, you're too young, until I emailed a Harley Street Gender Clinic, which would see under 18s, and I had one appointment with them. And that, like, first, crowdfunding. I'm sorry, this video is literally all over the place. Once I found the gender clinic that I wanted to go to, like, I wanted to speak to Harley Street Gender Clinic first, because they said they would see me and they had amazing reviews, and so I had to crowdfund for this. You probably heard all about my crowdfunding situation, because I did make a video about that when I first launched it. So I had like a GoFundMe page. First I had a page on a different website, but then I moved it to GoFundMe, and I made handmade pride flag coloured bracelets. I'm still making those to fund my boyfriend's crowdfunding thing, because he is doing this pretty much the same thing that I did, because he wants to start testosterone soon. So I'm still making these, but I made them originally to fund my crowdfunding. I sold those for £1 each. I hustled so much because I don't have all that money when I started this. I think, no, I was at college. I'm at college full time, and I have had a job, but I struggle to work because of mental health reasons. But I am, again, like, I was job hunting, and I had a job for a bit, and then I lost my job, and then I'm job hunting again right now, trying to find a job that I can actually do without mental health. So anyway, my source of income at the moment is selling things online. I have a Depop store where I sell lots of like little just bits and bobs that I find like in my room and stuff, mostly like old fandom merch, and obviously the handmade bracelets. But overall in crowdfunding, I think I made about £600 maybe, just from crowdfunding, like asking for donations online, from the hashtag #transcrowdfund, on Twitter, sharing my stuff on there. A lot of just, like, you have to work really hard to get this sort of crowdfunding to actually work, and for the right people to see it, and for the people who are able to donate to see it. So I am living proof that crowdfunding actually works. There's a lot of, like, in the community, a lot of people, like, if they see someone share a fundraiser, a lot of people are just like, what are you doing? This isn't gonna work. No one's gonna actually donate to this, but they do. If you put in the effort to, like, work hard and promote your fundraiser and make sure that the right people see it at the right time, and make it, like, you know, it's a lot of networking and a lot of social media admin and stuff like that. If you work hard at that, like I was probably putting in like about an hour a day, like just constantly tweeting and posting on Facebook and Tumblr and all that. And I have like a Facebook page and a Tumblr page and a Twitter page and Instagram page and everything for my fundraiser. And, you know, if you do that and if you hustle, you can do it. Like crowdfunding for transition definitely works. I am living proof of that. I got this out of it, you know. It does work if you can put in the effort. So that's how I did it. So I was able to afford my first appointment at Harley Street Gender Clinic. This was about 8 months ago now, I think. I went there. It was a really casual appointment with a really lovely doctor called Vicky Pastersky. She diagnosed me with gender dysphoria within one appointment and referred me to gender GP, who prescribed me my testosterone. So then after she referred me to gender GP, I emailed back and forth with their team. I was the primary doctor at gender GP is Dr. Weberly, who is a lovely guy. That literally I cannot fault him or gender GP. They are honestly that service has saved my life. They are, I do not have a bad word to say about these people. Amazing. Probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me is finding this service and these doctors. I emailed back and forth with the team there for a while. They sent me like some surveys, some questionnaires sort of thing, like tell me about your history and dysphoria. There was like, I had to pay them every so often, like I paid them an initial fee, and then I had a phone consultation appointment with them, and then they asked for some blood tests, and this is the complication I was talking about. My general practitioner, my like doctor who I go to for you know, odds and ends of have a cold or whatever. The one I had like at this point was pretty useless. He wasn't good with like gender stuff. He didn't want to touch it like with a barge pole. He just wouldn't have anything to do with it. He was really unhelpful, really slow at doing anything. So obviously I had to go to him for blood tests, and I had to wait like a month to be able to book one in. Then when I got it done, he'd like forget to send it, or wouldn't send it all, or we wouldn't have done the right tests. So that added a few months to the waiting time, because usually from referral, gender GP will get people onto hormones within about 6 months, sometimes like 5 months. But for me, it did take like 8 months, and because of this, my blood tests, they just kept messing up. So once I finally got that done, I moved general practitioner. I go to a different doctor, but in the same building now, because they're more competent. So that's all fine now. And then I had to go to a physical appointment in person with a doctor from gender GP, just to have my testosterone prescription written out for me. And because like they originally didn't have to do that, but then they changed their policies so that we have to do that now. And so that was a bit annoying, but it was a really nice appointment. The Sally Coles, I think her name was, she was lovely. And there was like other trans kids there who I hung out with, and it was really fun, nice experience. And that appointment was only in Birmingham, which is like 5-minute drive away from my house, which is a peak. So and then I had my prescription written out, and I had to pay for my prescription to be written out and to go to that appointment. And then I have to now pay a monthly fee to stay on gender GP's books, and I have to pay for my hormones. So far the whole process, like every single appointment that I've mentioned, had cost about £600, I'd say, and my monthly fee to stay on the books is £25 every, I think it's like every 28 days, 29 days. It's supposed to be £30, but because obviously I'm unemployed and my parents aren't on all that much money, they have given me a discount, which is lovely. And I know that if you do talk to the people at Gender GP about your income and stuff, they will figure something out for you, because they understand, you know, the importance of the service that they give and how everyone should have access to it, which is just amazing. I love these people. And my testosterone, the gel that I am on, does cost, it's like £45 a month, but I I'm hoping to either move on to injections, which are like £4 a month, or hopefully my general practitioner will give me, they can do like a bridged care with like your everyday doctor, if your doctor's up for that, and that obviously means you can get your hormones through the NHS, so they're free. So hopefully my new doctor, who is lovely, will be able to do that. But I'm still waiting on that. So at the moment I am paying for my hormones at the moment. I have some savings, I'm trying to get a job. So, you know, if you want to help me out with that, I will link to my PayPal below if you want to. I'm trying not to worry about that. I know if I fall behind, you know, I'll get the money from somewhere. I'll be fine. I'm just happy I have my hands and some testosterone. I'm trying not to worry about everything, how expensive everything is. So, about the beautiful liquid from the gods. Yeah, so they put me on this to start off with. They like to start everyone off on testo gel. Hello, may we see? They like to start everyone off on this sort of stuff, just because it's easier to regulate and all that. So I am on this. They started me off on 1 pump a day for the first week, which was so then I had 20.25 milligrams of testosterone a day, but after a week they moved me up to 2 pumps a day, which is 40.5 milligrams of testosterone a day. Basically it's in a little bottle and you just squirt it onto your hand and rub it into your shoulders, and it sinks into your body, and then you have the tea in your blood. That's all that happens. It's pretty simple. I am getting on with it amazingly so far. I've been on it for 12 days now, so pretty much 2 weeks. I've actually I know this is probably placebo and I haven't, but I feel like I've had changes happen to me. My skin is like cycling between being really oily and being really dry. My eyebrows I think have thickened out. I've had some spots on my forehead, which like, I very rarely get spots, but I've had spots. My voice, I seem to be talking in a deeper voice more easily now. Like I don't know, like my voice hasn't broke, but it's easier to naturally talk at more of a deeper level. And I have had like tingling in my throat, sort of like a sore throat, that feels like maybe an Adam's apple growing or my voice breaking. I feel like my shoulders are broadening out and I've got more hair on them. My arms are all hairy. But this like obviously this isn't actually, it takes longer for this sort of stuff to happen, but I feel like it's happening, so okay, little boy dream. And I'm really hungry. I'm so hungry. I do actually have a Tumblr blog, FTM transition pics. I will link it down below if I remember. If I forget, remind me. Where I am uploading photos and detailing my entire transition. There's a more detailed explanation of like how I started testosterone, all the steps from all the doctors and everything, and I am uploading pictures and descriptions of all the changes that I've been noticing on there as well, if you wanna check that out. That's everything I wanted to say, isn't it? Basically I just wanted to tell you guys how I started tea, if anyone was wondering, because there's not that much information about it, and it's really sad. I think like in the community, like I see loads of people asking like how do you actually start tea and stuff, so I wanted to tell you how I did it, you know. Obviously there are other ways. You can go the NHS route, or obviously one of the other private gender clinics that I mentioned, but that's personally how I started it. If you want to maybe do some research into any of the things that I mentioned in this video, if you're interested in starting yourself. So thank you, basically. Thank you to everyone who donated to my fundraiser. Thank you to everyone who shared my fundraiser. Thank you for everyone who has been supporting me. Thank you to everyone at Gender GP. You guys really helped. I couldn't have done it without those guys. And you know, I will be talking about Spider-Man probably in the next video.